Awesome. So thank you everyone for coming. And this is my sister, Mary Beth. For those of you that haven't met her, she's been my mentor in this business, and she's been able to create such like all of her dreams and visions and what she's wanted to create in the world. And, she's had huge visions since she was a little kid. So it's amazing to watch her embody and step into all these things through this business model of community and support. And so Mary's been probably my biggest inspiration in life and in business. So I wanted to invite her in to do a call because we have so many new people joining us, and wanted to get everybody connected into the different layers of leadership and support because we all have slightly different skills and styles. So it's nice to get connected in, and thank you so much, Mary, for leading this call today. And I'm excited to drop in with you.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Rita. And Ash, are you able to come on video by chance? I don't know. I don't see you on there. I don't know if you're.
I think Ashley was kind of healing from recovering from surgery, so she was just going to listen in.
Okay. All right, Lindsay. Well, lucky you. You get a one-on-one. So we'll just go that route with it. I would love to hear, Rita, do you want to introduce me to Lindsay a little bit?
Yeah, well, we've kind of just gotten to connect in a little bit. But Lindsay, if you want to share some of what's lighting you up and some of your passions currently with Purium.
Great, thanks so much for being here. So I am a mother of two little ones. I have a 1.5-year-old and a 5-year-old. So that keeps me busy, and I really am enjoying tying in the Purium products just to help me feel nourished and more on a nice regular schedule with taking the supplements. And I really have a passion to help other mamas. That's like a big part of my why, to get other moms like me in a place where they feel nourished and supported community-wise and nutrition-wise. I'm also a yoga instructor, and I do a lot with pre and postnatal women as they're pregnant, and then afterwards kind of figuring out how to move and find movement and space with their babies next to them or in their arms. So I've just been doing Purium. I've just done the daily 4-core for about a month now. And I decided to hop on and do this brand and partnership so that I could share this with my community. And then in May, my cousin, Emily Smith, and I, who got me on board, are going to be offering the 30-day reset. So doing the ULT together with the community.
And what part about that really excites you the most? Like what gets you excited about that?
Yeah. I'm excited to learn more and more about nutrition. Like that feels like that's calling to me a lot, like how to find the foods that are really full, not only the nutrient dense part, but the regenerative food part. So I've been a farmer and done permaculture also for a long time. For over the past 10 years, I've kind of taken a step back from it a bit since having kids. But the food piece really, really calls to me, like getting people on, I don't want to use the word diet, but a lifestyle where they're choosing their best foods for themselves. And we just watched Kiss the Soil on Netflix. I don't know if any of you guys have seen that, but it's all about what's going on here. So I was like, oh, this is perfect timing. This is like what I'm doing. And I got really, really excited about that.
Awesome. That's great. And so when did you actually sign up to be a brand partner? Are you still in your 10-day fast start window or?
No, I kind of did it right as looking back, I should have waited, I think, and maybe like did a few weeks of this, but I kind of jumped on board right when I signed up for my first daily 4-core. So I'm a month into being a brand partner as well.
Okay, but you're still in your fast start director window, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So still in your fast start window. And Bailey, who I know is here on the call, is not in her fast start window, but I'm going to do this call like as if we're all in our 10-day fast start window, because there's no time like now to just relaunch your business and get started as if you were in your 10 days. So that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing those excitements with me. And Bailey, do you want to jump off and share about what's lighting you up right now?
Yeah. I go through so many phases of what lights me up about this whole movement that we're a part of. And I think right now in particular, I just got off the phone with a woman that I met through social media. She lives in Ireland. And I'm really so excited to connect with people from across the world. And I never would have been motivated or inspired to reach out and make these connections. And so I think that is what's lighting up, is like reaching out and expanding my friendships and my network, not only for this movement, but also just like in life in general, and like the bigger dreams that I want to create on the farm and bringing healing and having gatherings and retreats and stuff. It's really just lighting me up to meet people that are filling in the pieces of that bigger dream, the bigger dream of Purium, but also the bigger dream that Purium is a vehicle for. So that's really lighting me up.
Awesome. Beautiful, Bailey. I love your big dreams, your big vision. I see Emily and Sandra just popped on. Are either of you? Yeah, there's Sandra.
Hi.
Hi. We're just sharing about what's exciting us most about Purium right now, our business. I'd love to hear you chime in if you can.
Yeah, I was just on a call with Bailey, and the business part of it, like the stepping into leadership, and yeah, that aspect of it is really exciting to me, just for my own self-improvement, and then sharing as I learn.
That's probably my favorite part about this business personally. It's just like that, stepping into more leadership and building more community, and yeah, just growing as our individuals and with each other. So that's beautiful, Sandra. And so I'm curious, how many of you actually do the action plan? Do it monthly or have done it? You can drop like a 1 in the chat if you've done that this month. Nobody's done the action plan? Okay, Bailey's done it. Great. Sandra's got it. All right. Rita got it. Cool. So Lindsay, do you know what that is, Lindsay? Yeah. Okay. So I would say like that's a really great first place to start, as if we were all acting like we were all in our 10-day fast start window. And this is our day 1. I do this often. I do this at least once a month, where I just pretend I'm starting brand new. Like, okay, this is day 1. How do I get started? So the action plan is definitely the space to really, start pulling out why this business is exciting to you and whose lives you really want to touch with this. So I would say if you haven't completed that, that would be a great task to do after this call. And Rita, you can drop in the chat where we can find that action plan if you don't mind. So that's kind of step 1. And then drop a 1 in the comments if you've been participating in the Widen Your Reach live promo challenge. So Lindsay, awesome. Bailey, great. Sandra, okay, awesome. So all of you guys have been on here. So that's the second step of really not just starting your 10-day fast start, but all of us should be participating in that, because it's free points for doing what we're supposed to be doing anyway. And they're giving us free points to help us grow our business. So the goal of when you start in your first 10-day fast start window is to actually try to do 10 in a row. So those of you who showed up to this call and those of you watching the replay, I'm going to challenge you to act like today's day 1 and shoot for 10 lives in a row, 10 days in a row. And if you're still in your fast start window, Lindsay, like you are, you'll actually get an extra 200 points for that instead of just doing 100 points. So if you do 10 lives in a month, you get 100 points. But if you're in your fast start window, you get 200 points. So it's a really great way to like see those points come automatically and really start generating some good leads and just starting to share our voice. So I'm going to challenge you all to go live 10 days in a row, and it doesn't have to be long, right? It can be 30 seconds. It can be a reel. It can be about, after we hop off this call, maybe you jump on and say, hey, I just got off this call and this is one thing that inspired me. Anything that's in relation to the work that we're doing with Purium in terms of lifestyle, business, product, all of that is relative. And what I really wanted to focus on with you guys today is how to develop your story, because those are the main things that I go live on. Number one is going live on my why. So I'd love to hear from each of you a little bit about your why. And then number two, I go live on my story, in particular, my business story. And there's always bits and pieces that I'm sharing of it, and it's always evolving. So it's a really easy content to go live on, because you're just sharing about what's inspiring you, what you're creating, and where you're going and what your story is. So we're going to dive into that on this call. But first and foremost, I would love to hear from Bailey, Sandra, and Lindsay. Give us a sneak peek into your why. What is your driving fuel in this business?
I can share, because life is precious, and I really want to be devoted to only the things that I value the most. Really, that's my why. Like I don't want to be spending my time dedicated to anything that's not aligned. So all of the aspects of this business, as far as stewardship for earth and healing the soil and healing our bodies alongside with that, and then on top of that, just the freedom to be able to connect with family, and the freedom to have a freedom-based lifestyle, to be to feel supported and nourished in all the ways, financially, physically, spiritually.
Beautiful. Thanks, Sandra. Bailey?
That was so great. Yeah, I think my why is beautifully ever adding to and growing and changing and shifting. And at the core of it is I really feel passionate about the land and community aspect of this life, and just really raising my kids in a way where there's an example of where our energy should be going. And healthy food and healthy soils, I think, in my perspective, is number one on the list. To really live a full life and feel all the feels of this life, we have to be feeling good, and we have to then also, to feel that way, just be putting nourishment into our body that is high vibrancy to experience these feelings. So my why is to create a space where people can come and experience that and have connection to the land and celebrate as community and as a tribe, and gather around music and art and peace, and have an experience that they take with them that sets them off into a direction of coming closer to spirit in all that we do. And so yeah, and setting that example for the young is really, I think, really what ties that all together. And the real why of it all is to create something for the next generation that we can be proud of, and that we can have them, experience even a greater life than we experience. So yeah, I think that's my why for the day.
Yeah, big why. I love it. Next generation. That's a huge part of my why too, Bailey. Beautiful. And Lindsay?
Yeah, and first of all, I apologize. This was last minute meeting for me, so my kids are here, and I have to be all over the place. But that is the huge part of my why, right? Same thing, like to have the freedom. I live between Vermont and St. John in the U.S. Virgin Islands, so if I can continue to make money doing something that I absolutely aligns with my integrity of how we treat the earth, how we feed our bodies, how we nurture our children, how we come together as community, all in the big broader spectrum of I create my own schedule. I live where I want, and I basically do what I want, and giving that example for my children. I love that the company is going plastic free. I love that there's so much community support. There's like, I'm wading through all this information right now, all these videos, and it's so inspiring. So my why covers a lot of that. Trying to put some more stuff down, but yeah, and then the mamahood, really, like, being a mom has just changed me so dramatically in all these wonderful ways. But to nurture myself and then share that with the rest of the moms in my community, in this whole world, like getting that out there is really important to me.
Beautiful. Love it. So that's task number 1, you guys. In one of those 10 lives, go live on your why. Even if you've already done it, do it again, because we always articulate it in a different way. And then something comes out that maybe someone didn't hear last time. And that's how we start to develop the community and the team that's going to help us achieve this. Because for me, what really is my driving force in this business is how many people's whys can I make come alive? And that's why I keep doing this business, because it's like, through helping other people achieve their why, then I achieve my own why. And when we stay rooted in that and connected in that, that creates magic. And we really can change the world with that platform. So that would be my idea, is go live on your why again and see what kind of conversations you can engage around that not only inspire your own why, but get you inspired by other people's whys. So beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And then next, we're going to do a little interactive about your story, about your business story. So I'm going to start with Rita just to kind of like emulate it for you guys. And then this is another thing to really work on, and it takes time. I'm working on my story all the time, and I'm really trying to get it to the place where it's like 2 minutes. And, that takes time, but the more we practice it and the more we depict it, the more easy it is to share with people. Once they engage in our why live, well, what is it that you're doing? You're like, well, here's my story, and well, here's why I'm doing what I'm doing, So Rita, I'm going to ask you the questions of, what were you doing and for how long before you found Purium, and try to keep it concise as you can.
I've been working with health and regenerative health for the last 15 years, studying that in depth, hosting retreats internationally, and also working, other part-time jobs so that I could create, that time freedom and work seasonally, but that wasn't sustainable at all, time-wise or financially.
And you guys make sure you're listening, because I'm going to have one of you reiterate her story for her. So, okay. And so what did you love about that?
I loved that I could travel and explore, and I loved helping people so much, and being able to share my passion for regenerative health, because it's been a huge part of my own journey, and I want to be able to help others.
And what didn't work so well for you about that?
What didn't work is there were inconsistencies, and I was a solo entrepreneur. So I was doing everything on my own, including all of the marketing and the promoting. And I could only see, 3 to 5 clients a day. And that was kind of mentally, emotionally exhausting. And I could only make a very small impact compared to what I wanted to, as far as getting this message out in the world. And it also wasn't, like I said, it wasn't sustainable. I was just paying my bills. That's it.
And then when you found Purium, how is it that it's helping you get closer to what you truly desire?
It's completely transformed and revolutionized my life. I mean, now, because of our community and our collective growing team, we're able to impact thousands of people's lives and really get this message of regenerative health out there, which really comes back to earth stewardship and land stewardship as well. And for me, it's been revolutionary because I'm able to focus and direct my energies on what I really care about. And right now, that lens is Indigenous wisdom and Indigenous voices, and uplifting those, and protecting and stewarding land and water. And so it's given me the ability to not only make a larger impact but also I've increased my income, by 5x. So I'm able to, yeah, promote my time and my skills and my education towards what I care about, but also financially towards the changes that I want to see in the world.
Beautiful. Does anyone want to try to reiterate that back to her? I can do it if no one wants to be a taker, but
I can try.
okay, cool. And just, yeah, kind of go from the beginning to the end.
Okay, so she was working in the health field, doing international retreats and also like her private practice. And she really liked just how she was traveling and really working in the field of what was important to her and sharing the knowledge of regenerative health. She didn't like how she could only see 5 clients a day, and it was really just exhausting to do that, and also just not really feeling fulfilled in reaching the amount of people and impacting the amount of people in this world that she wanted to. And she also had to do like all of her own marketing and all of her own bookkeeping and all of her own, all of that, which as an entrepreneur can be the most cumbersome part of the business. So since she has found Purium, she's been able to just impact thousands of more people. She's been able to really focus her mission and her message, and she's also been able to create an income for herself that she now can put money not only towards, taking care of herself and her family, but also putting money towards the other missions in this world that she wants to support and see big changes happen. So in a nutshell, that's what I got.
Great job, Bailey. And did that feel pretty accurate to you, Rita? What did you pull out of what you heard her say about your story? What?
You actually really distilled it for me, Bailey. Thank you. Because like Mary said, it takes a lot of practice and there's so much I want to say towards all of it, but you kind of simplified all of those key points to say like what I was doing and what I'm able to do now so distinctly. So thank you.
Yeah. And the only piece of advice I would give on the income part is, as we're not supposed to say how much income we're making, like we're not supposed to make any claims in that way. So when you're talking about, I 5x my income, maybe there's a way to explain how you've up-leveled your finances without using income. Like now I'm, able to pay my apartment, my car, my blah, 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 my blah, blah, blah with what I'm making in Purium, because or you can also do, well, actually, I won't go into that, but just so you guys know, we don't want to like make income disclosures because the FTC regulates us and they see it as kind of like false advertising if we're making income statements. So you can say, now I'm making enough to exchange my mortgage payment, or, use examples. Does that make sense? Cool. Beautiful. All right, Bailey, let's go through you and then I'll have someone else distill your story for you. So what have you been doing and for how long?
I have been a mama of 3 for years and was staying at home with them and doing all that, and also working a lot with farming and bee stewardship and horse training. And all of that is beautiful and to my passions. But I also felt just spread thin. I couldn't necessarily be the best mom, the best bee steward, the best farmer, the best horse trainer. I just was doing half of all of it, it felt like. And I was at the same point, just stressed out in a way that wasn't serving myself either. Yeah, and I loved it all. I mean, it really is, all of those are my passions and that I really care deeply about and don't mind putting, tons of energy into it. I wasn't making any money. And I also, it was very seasonal. So I would be swamped, spring, summer, fall, and then in the winter, everything was kind of put to bed and on hold, and including the pay scale. So that was kind of just like way out of balance. It was just like all or nothing. And even at the end of the day was still like not financially that supportive. And so I didn't like that part of it. And now in finding Purium, I love it because there's a bigger dream involved. It's not just this like, well, what do you want to do? It's like this, well, what do you dream about in your heart, you know? And I think that I was in more of like, not total scarcity mentality, but in a like, well, I don't have enough time, energy, money to do that greater vision. And now like just listening to stories and having my eyes open to this business, I can dream even bigger. And I love working with this team of women, you know, like before I was just always doing everything on my own and never feeling like I was making an impact because I just, you know, there's these huge problems in the world and I'm like just a mom, you know, like what can I do, and feeling disempowered just with that thought process of wanting to do so much and not being able to really do any of it. And now working with a team, I see that like with our powers combined, we really can accomplish like some huge things. And also it has given me a platform to talk about all the things I'm passionate about and have these solutions to offer people, and not just talk about all the problems and then be like, well, we're screwed, you know, but to like also have something that I can really help people with by offering. And I love that I can work whenever and wherever. I mean, we just got done moving across the country and like I still received paychecks all through not you know, really putting any time into my business. So just seeing a glimpse of that, even though the checks aren't like gigantic at this point, but planting that seed of like this as a possibility that, you know, we all need to have the time to be with our families and do the things that actually feed us while we're still being supported financially and, you know, in other ways too. So I dream about that for my kids, just having a life where it's not all like, we gotta make money, you know, to open it to like, that's kind of a side thing. Like we're being supported financially and we're able to do all the things that we dream about as humans. So that's my story that probably needs some major distillation.
Oh, it's beautiful. But let's see, Sandra, you want to give it a go from start to finish, what she's been doing and for how long, what she liked about it, what she didn't, and what she's discovering through Purium?
Sure, I'll give it a shot. I have a friend coming over, and so I just want to premise it just in case there's an interruption. If she comes, I'll be like, sit here with the through the call. So Bailey's story, she's very busy. She didn't specify for how many years, but she has been the mother of 3 and focused on that, and integrating other things that she loved to do as well, horse training and farming and being a steward of the land, and being spread out really thin between those. So some of the challenges with that were just the feeling spread between all the things, like she couldn't focus really on the things with as much freedom, and just like not really feeling supported by those things, and also the fluctuation between the seasonal work and times where it was probably pretty stressful, where everything was super busy. And even though she was so devoted to all of those things, not really feeling supported, you know, as far as just personally with connection and with community, and lacking the financial support or the financial stability, and having that struggle kind of limiting the way that she could dream.
And then what has she discovered with Purium?
That she can, you know, still focus on all the things that she cares about, and and in turn also be supported by this beautiful community, and and just have the flow be easier, have more freedom in how she focuses her time, and having less stress, and also having it feel making money and having it feel easy, like just having even though it takes effort, but just having that freedom to really be herself and really focus on the things that are important, but also making an income with it.
Great. How did that sound to you, Bailey?
That was great. Yeah, concise, and like the bigger points just brought to the front without all the other luggage that comes along with it. So yeah, thanks for just making those points more clear and concise.
All right, Sandra, you want to give it a go? What have you been doing and for how long?
Whew. So prior to Purium, I was working as a planner, doing community and environmental planning, which I was devoted to because of my love for Earth and wanting to create positive change. And despite that, it was probably a longer run than 10 years. 10 years was just my time in Hawaii being devoted to it. It wasn't really what I signed up for. It was full of politics, and I didn't really feel like I was making the impact that I wanted to. And so I started to nourish myself spiritually by becoming a yoga teacher, devoting myself to Ayurveda. And during that time when I was working, taking a 2-year program to become an Ayurvedic consultant, and then I was doing everything all at once. So I was working the full-time job, and I was working at a studio, and I was doing consultations. So I was trying to fulfill the spiritual side, and just like Bailey, I was really spread thin. I was not. So it became difficult to show up in all the ways, because I was really depleted and just kind of stressed out. And also, even though it was like I had a good stable job, I was still living from paycheck to paycheck, like not really saving enough to really focus on things. And it seemed like, I don't know, I just had a desire to really wake up every day and just focus on the things that I felt were the most important. And it became less and less. I wasn't able to stay, in that job with my heart not in it. So yeah, so that was where I was at before finding Purium. And before finding Purium, I had made the decision that I was going to shift into living a life where I was completely aligned. And from that shift, there was a lot of things that just kind of, once I made the decision, it's like the universe just gave me the perfect opportunity to completely shift and to quit my job and to move here where I'm connected to the land, and to be with my partner. And yeah, my life is totally different right now.
And a little bit more, what is it about Purium that's helping you move closer to your desires?
Really the greater mission, the greater all of, and that mission has so many components to it. It's like the mission of healing Earth, but also the experience of really feeling nourished and supported by using the product, and feeling those shifts in my own body, and really feeling empowered by the clarity, and the just feeling physically good. And then being able to share these things, and not only about the product, but like the larger mission and the aspect of self-improvement. Like I love the business model, and the aspect of just like stepping into this role of being being self-sufficient, being and it's challenging for me to talk about, because I'm not at a point where I'm really like thriving with the business, but I feel it. It's a feeling. It's a, so even though I'm not there yet, it's like, I can't describe it, but it's like a call, or like being just pulled by this feeling of creating community and really sharing these things that are of the most importance.
I'm really glad that you touched on that feeling piece, because I was listening to Fraser Brooks last week, and he said the most important thing is to get into the feeling first before you learn the business. Like if you can teach anybody the most important thing, it's the feeling first, and then you can learn all the things, right? But he uses this acronym of FAR as, you know, F being feeling, feeling brings activity, and activity brings result. So just being in that feeling is such an important piece of the puzzle, Sandra. So I'm glad you brought that up. And sorry to interject there, but Lindsay, do you want to try to distill that story back a little bit, what you took from it in terms of what she's been doing and for how long, what she liked about it, what she didn't like about it, and how Purium is moving her closer to her desires?
Yes, I'll do my best. Sorry, I've got my kiddos here with me. So go on, I'll be right there, okay? So also similar to all of us, Sandra had a very busy schedule full of things that maybe weren't fully aligning for her, especially a full-time job that just didn't align with your integrity. And so you started adding in, Sandra started adding in a spiritual piece to kind of fill that gap through yoga and Ayurveda. And maybe that was the first step in the draw away from the, full-time gig with a full-time paycheck, but it opened up some doors, and the universe allowed you to kind of step in what was missing. And so Purium is filling that gap for you by giving you a supportive community and that desire to connect with people, to feel good like you're feeling good, and to share that gift that has been given to you. And you're still kind of moving into where you're headed, but the call is really there for you.
Beautiful. And Sandra, what did you pull from that?
You did a really good job, because I felt like I wasn't focused when I was talking. But yeah, that was very, very, it was like more concise. It's funny, all of the reiterations are more concise than the first. Thank you. I'm Sandra, by the way. I don't think we've met.
Hi, nice to meet you.
And that's a big piece of why I'm doing this with you guys. And Lindsay, you'll be next. It's just to hear how other people hear what you're saying and see what they pull out. That's important, because I would say the most important thing in your first 10 days of going live, or this 10-day live challenge, is to really share excitement and create excitement. And when you hear other people distill your story back to you, you hear what excites them, by what they're saying to you. And one thing that I love that Leslie Zann says is, she says, basically one of our number one jobs in this business is to be able to capture stories. And so part of the reason I'm having you guys hear each other's stories is so that you can share those stories. That could even be one of your live, like, you can share your own story, but then the next day you can go on and say, hey, I was on this call and I was talking with one of my colleagues and her story really inspires me, and here it is, right? It's all about like what are ways to create excitement and what are ways to share excitement, and stories are such a good way to do that. So that's why we're doing all this, just so you guys can have those, capturing these stories. Lindsay, here we go. What have you been doing for how long? What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? How is Purium getting you closer to your desires?
Okay, so for about the past 6 years, I've been a stay-at-home mom combined with being a yoga teacher. And I love that I get to be with my children. That's first and foremost such a blessing, that I get to stay home and create our own schedule. And I've also been eating plant-based pretty solidly for about 2 years, and really loving that, and teaching my kids how to grow food and be also a steward of the earth. But what was missing, there's something that's not missing. One is income. Two is the ability to feel like I can travel back and forth with the income that I need between the two places that I live. And then also the nutrition piece. So there's something in the nutrition piece that was missing for me. Like I'm eating really well, but there's still something else that I need in my life to feel like I have the energy I need to be my best self as a mom. And then so stepping into this vision, I'm envisioning just fulfilling how I can tie this into my yoga practice and my business and share with my community what I've learned and help them all get the gift of nutrition and well-being as a holistic perspective.
Beautiful. That was pretty concise. Well done. Rita, you want to distill that back to her?
Yay. So Lindsay, you were working from home as a stay-at-home mom and a yoga teacher. And you love that because you got to spend time with your children and teach them values that you care about, include being in the garden and grow their food. Some things that were missing were from a nutritional standpoint, you felt like you were not getting everything that you needed. And also from an income standpoint, wanting to be able to create an income stream where you can also be at home with your family. And you're excited about this opportunity because you're able to weave your passions of yoga and nutrition together to be able to provide more freedom and solutions for those in your community.
How did that
Yeah,
sound?
Thanks. Really good. Thanks.
What were some of the bigger pieces you pulled out of that?
I think the freedom pieces, both aligning with my schedule and income and sharing it with my community, because to like tie that all in without sounding like so sales pitchy is like where I just want that like inspiration of like, I'm living this rad lifestyle, like check it out. Like I got some freedom. I feel good. Like my kids are healthy. Like we're doing it all. Like we're eating the good food. We're growing it if we have the space to do that. So, and then it's like, and then buy my stuff. Like that's where I get like a little cringy. So I'm really loving watching other stories of how people do it so fluidly. And that's what I want to learn. And that's where I want to embody the feeling.
Beautiful. Yeah. So the next thing that we're going to do it exactly ties into what you're saying of just being able to share your story without selling anything. Because I'll be honest, like the whole time I've been in this business, maybe I felt a little salesy in the beginning because I didn't quite understand how to do it, but I don't ever feel like I'm selling anything. I just feel like I'm sharing, like I'm just sharing what I'm doing. And I'm just like sharing how people can join the mission I'm on if it resonates with them. Right. So for the next, like, we'll say 3 minutes, I'm going to have you guys actually create a list right now of 20 people. And don't even think about who wants to do the business or who could benefit from the product, but who are 20 people that you could just share your story with, that you could hop on the phone with, or, via text message or whatever outlet. Who are 20 people that you would be excited to just share your 2-minute story with? So let's go ahead and take that time to make that list right now. I'll give you a few minutes. Okay, we'll go for about another minute. And if you hit 20, keep going. Okay, so by no means, if you have more names coming to you right when we pop off this call, just finish up that list. And even if you reach out to these people and say, hey, I'm working on this story I'm crafting for my business, and you came to mind as someone that I would feel okay to share it with. If I sent it to you, would you take a minute to read it? Or, you could even do like a video. You could video yourself doing it and say, hey, if I sent you a quick 2-minute video of me sharing my story, would you mind giving me your feedback? Like that could be a way to open the conversation, just to start sharing your story more. And this idea of kind of like starting your business from day one with the 10-day Fast Start Consultant Run is like relaunching your business. We always have an opportunity to relaunch our business. And the number one aspect to relaunching your business is just basically going out and connecting with a bunch of people, 20 to 100 people, solely with the intention of connecting with them, and part of that is sharing your story, right? Connecting, wanting to hear their story, sharing your story. And one thing that I love that Fraser Brooks always says, he says, don't change the message, just change the audience. So when you're going into a relaunch, I'm hopefully these 20 to 30 people that came to mind for you are new people that you haven't reached out to yet, or maybe they're people you haven't really gone into the conversation with. So you have an opportunity to refine your message and share it with a new audience. So that would be my suggestion for you all, is to figure out how can I connect with these 20 people and somehow share my story with them, even if it's asking them for feedback on it and telling them that I value and appreciate their opinion and appreciate them taking the time, because it's something that you're really working on and you're really excited to share with others, So drop a 1 in the chat if that makes sense. Or I guess there's so few of us, you guys can just come off mute and tell me if that makes sense.
It does.
Okay, cool. So is that helpful? Does that sound exciting to you to share your story with people? Does it sound intimidating?
Yeah, I think it's like, I don't know what hung up much. I think it's just like, I think in my mind, I've been working on this so much that then I like transcribe that to like my whole community and audience has been bombarded in some way with it. But really, like, I haven't at all, but it's been on my mind to practice so much that I'm getting it kind of just like too much, and wanting to, I don't know, I think I need to step through like that, like questioning of like how direct to be about it when I'm talking with people. Sometimes, dripping, and that, feels good in certain instances, but then it's also, I want to step into being a little bit about all of it, because I feel like the dripping kind of can go on and it's fine, but for like massive action, it's needed to be a little sometimes.
Yep. And that's why I always, in my direct message, I've typically started with asking people their feedback. Like, hey, I thought of you. I know you're probably super busy, but I'm working on this story, this for my business. And you just came to mind as someone I would love to share it with. Do you think you'd have 2 minutes to check it out for me and give me your feedback? That's why I always, anytime I'm trying to be direct, I'm always trying to just edify and also ask for feedback, because then you're learning what they, for one, if they do respond, and then what they respond about, so that's kind of what I wanted to lead you guys with this call, is just that idea of having today be your day one. Pretend you're starting and you're going to hit Fast Start Consultant in the next 10 days. And how we're going to do that is do the action plan if you haven't done it already. Commit to 10 lives And maybe we start with our why, maybe we go on and share our story, maybe we share one of the other stories we learned today, maybe we do an interview with each other through this, maybe we go on and we talk about the environmental plastic free thing that's going on, figure out, like, make a plan for yourself of 10 lives that you could see yourself committing to. And again, it doesn't have to be long, it can be 30 seconds to 2 minutes. I personally suggest don't make your lives any longer than 2 minutes, because I don't think people, sorry, I'm just trying to mute a couple people. Oh, Rita, you got to mute. Okay. I don't think people have the attention span for much longer than that, to be honest, with these days. And then create that list, find that list of 20 to 30 people that you could legitimately reach out to and be like, share your story with, and kind of see this as a relaunch of what it is, how you're relaunching your business in a way that's based around creating excitement and creating connection and creating curiosity through just solely sharing your story, right? Something that Christina said the other day that really inspired me is she's built a 2-star crown organization and she rarely ever talks about the products. And someone was like, how do you do that? And she's like, I just talk about my why, I talk about my story, and I talk about what I'm creating. And it attracts that type of community to where, again, we're fulfilling each other's whys. So does that sound good with everyone? Sound clear? Cool. Awesome. Rita, anything you want to add in?
That was super awesome and clear. Thank you, Mary. I love that. And I'm just excited to take action on these steps. So if anybody wants to go live together or interview each other, I know I need to share my story more, and that's what feels like the most authentic and fun, and just story sharing on all of the different elements. So I would love to collaborate with everyone here.
So Bailey, I hope this is okay, but I'm just going to share about so we had been talking about going live and having maybe like a Zoom offering on the topic of empowerment, and talking a little bit about what it is and what it isn't, and offering some information about empowerment, having some offerings of things that are good practices for empowerment, and sharing personal stories. And so I've got like a little outline going, and we were thinking about next Tuesday. And I don't know if any of you would want to participate or would want to be a part of that. I think that we would love to collaborate. So that would be.
Sandra, if you and Bailey can come up with a little like outline and time, and then throw it out there. If I'm available, I could totally pop on for a 5-minute story share or whatever,
Yeah. Okay. I'll follow up with some information about it, but we were thinking about shooting for Tuesday, the 20th, which is a week from today.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, that's exciting. And it's a really great idea to just start creating these little things that you could invite people to, because we have all these events that we can invite to, but sometimes it's nice for people to be like, hey, I'm inviting you to a personal event that I'm doing. And it gives more of that personal connection. And then just having a few stories to share and a few things to add of value. That's the other thing when you're sharing and going live, like always think about trying to add value to your audience. So it's not just like a one-woman show where they're just like learning about you and all your life, but like, what else can you add value to in their lives besides maybe some inspiration? But so that's great. I'm really glad that you're taking that stance. And as you're sharing your story, just remember that acronym of FAR. Feeling, activity, results. So if you're going to go live and you're like, ooh, just like really embody that feeling first, like embody the feeling, get into the activity, and the result is produced from that. So I hope this was helpful, ladies. And I really enjoyed learning all of your stories and hearing a little bit more about your whys. And we'll just keep evolving, keep doing it.
Can I ask a quick question before we go? And I'm sure I can find it, but is there a quick link to the action plan? Is that like something you do? Do you do that online? Do you print it out and write it out? Does everyone do it in their own way?
Yeah, you can, if you have a printer, you can print it out. I actually do it. It's a PDF. You can download the PDF through that website. Rita posted in the chat, and you can just do it online like that way. And then some people just write it out, like they kind of write the prompts out. But we as a team, we have this culture of doing it every month, the beginning of the month, for all of us. Like I, even being in it 2.5 years, I've done it every single month, just because it really helps us, again, redefine our stories, focus in on our whys, and create a new list, and it really helps to create like kind of that bigger vision. So what I would suggest is do that action plan and then text a picture of it to your upline and say, hey, this is me raising my hand. Here's my action plan, and it's just a really good way to get into the feeling. So, all right, ladies, thank you so much for your time, and we'll come together again at some other point.
Thanks.
Love-
This was
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Love you all. Thank you so much. I love doing this with y'all. It's beautiful. Have a good
Rita,
day.
before we go, Bailey, are you still there?
She had to hop.
Yeah, okay. On our call too,